As a kid, there were a few games I could remember playing all the freaking time. MC Kids, Mario 2, World Cup Soccer, and in that mix, I have an Ironman Stewarts Super Off-Road, or what is going to be called Super Off-Road for the remainder in this review, because I really don't want to pad out the length of the video by repeatedly talking simply about the title. Super Off-Road is a port of an arcade game that I remember plunking a few quarters into when I was a child in the early 90s. Its gameplay design is super simple to learn. Control a truck and race to the finish line to be the first in overhead single-screen courses, while pushing your opponents out of the way and try as you might to control the vehicle in the muddy environments. You have a few races to get used to everything, and then after a while, you're told, okay, you're on to the main tournament, no continues available anymore. So how do you play? Well, the controls are easy enough to figure out. You use the D-pad to steer your truck, using left and right to turn as you hold A to apply the gas, best compared with modern games using so-called tank controls. The only other thing you need to worry about are your nitro bursts, used by pressing the B button. That's it. If you can memorize these 4 instructions, you'll do fine in Super Off-Road. Of course, things aren't going to be that easy. Your opponents want to win badly too, so they will be using their own supplies of nitro, while attempting to cut in front of you and slamming you out of the way. In addition, sometimes it will be downright unfair on how much of a lead they'll get, because there is no rubber banding mechanic. If you fall behind, you better at least figure out how to not finish in last, because that's the only real way you can really lose. Let me explain how the life system works, because I don't think I really need to talk about how to play the game. I mean, it's a single screen course with 8 total tracks, having a reverse option. Do I really need to say much more about that? Okay, fine. Before I get to the life system, let me mention a few things about the racing itself. Each race is 4 laps, with the lap you're on designated in the HUD. The color of your car matches with the HUD, with the first player always being pink. Manly. If you have some sort of multi-tap, you can battle it out with 3 other friends, and I know me and my brothers have spent many a night playing the game and getting as far as we could. I'm pretty sure we got to race 60 plus one night, and ended up shutting the game off simply because we were getting bored. The tracks were littered with hills, ramps, potholes, mud, and so on. They can mess you up, which is pretty neat and not expected in this era of gaming. There were a few times I attempted to go around a corner, and a hill messed me up. Anyway, once one of the racers crosses the finish line, the race is over immediately. And whatever place you are currently in is how you are scored. You'll earn money depending on what place you finished in, and move right on to the next race, after hitting the store. You use whatever money you earn to upgrade your truck in one of 4 stats: acceleration, top speed, wheels, and shocks. You can also spend extra cash on nitros, so that you aren't in last place and screwed because you're out of boost. You'll probably max out your upgrades around race 10 or so, so although it's a nice feature to the game, it's not fleshed out as much as it possibly could be. Even with upgrading your vehicle fully, you'll see that controlling your truck can be difficult around those tight turns, as I spun out many times. Also, your opponents don't seem to be fazed by your upgrades, so you'll just need to overall race better than the AI to finish first. Okay, back to the life system. In the shop, you'll see a few mini cars above the purchasable upgrades. Every time you finish in first place, you'll earn an extra life, up to a maximum of 3. Finish last, and you'll lose 1. You won't get any rewards or be penalized for ending a race in 2nd or 3rd place, other than the purse that you'll earn for your placement. If, after you get into the pro tournament, you lose all of your lives, you're sent back to the start of the game. Otherwise, you can just keep on racing and increasing your funds. There are a very select few power-ups you can find on the track to help give you a little bit of an edge, although it may not be immediately noticeable. These come in the forms of a nitro collection and also spare cash, shown on the track as a present and a money bag respectively. The first time you collect one during a race, you'll earn 1 boost or $10,000. For each subsequent one that is picked up, the amount will go up. So for example, the nitro will go from 1 with the first collection to 2, then 3, and so on. Money will do the same, increasing in the amounts by 10k each. After the race is over, the amounts will reset back to level 1 on the next race. However, when you have your ride completely maxed out, these pickups will essentially result in just nitro boosts, of which you can store up to 99 of them. You might think that's a lot, but you can really burn through these, especially if you're finding yourself trailing in races. The biggest complaint I have with the game is just how repetitive it gets. With a total of 8 courses, and not including the reversed ones, you're going to be seeing each track a lot. I could be wrong, but I could swear I made it over race 68 once as a kid, and I can only assume 100 is max. Or maybe the game just keeps going, I don't know. Either way, a few extra tracks would have been nice. At least what we do have does the game well. Plenty of environmental hazards will litter each track, and there is never really any straightaway with nothing to avoid. There may not seem like they do much, but these rocks and other obstacles will slow you down or make slight adjustments to your steering. Believe me, it definitely affects you, such as when you're trying to use nitro to go flying over a ramp and hit a rock. If you smack into one of the walls, it might be a few seconds before you unstick yourself, costing you the race. The only other thing I need to talk about are the things I always say when I wrap up reviews: the graphics and the sound. Sound-wise, it's standard stuff. You'll be hearing lots of thumps of the vehicles smacking the dirt to break up the music of the game. As for the visuals, sure, the game has lots of browns, but that's to be expected. It's a game where you are racing on dirt and mud, so it's expected to contain that kind of look. As for the trucks, they look decent, although with that small size, they kind of look like you're racing micro machines. Not saying that like it's a bad thing, but that's just what it looks like to me. And that's Ironman Stewarts Super Off-Road. Sure, it's a very basic looking game, but it's really so much fun, especially if you have some friends to play with. It's also fairly cheap, so it's easy to find if it's something that looks fun. If you've played the arcade game, it may have some extra nostalgia points in your book. Give it a shot if it's something that looks like your cup of tea. It may not be something you play long term, but once you spend some time with it, you'll probably want to replay it again a few months down the road. Final score? 5 out of 7. This is Reaper. Happy fragging.